Starting in 15 minutes, a new programme for Saturday nights, the Big Big Talent Show. 5 new acts introduced by Jonathan Ross. And that follows the news on Granada.
From the studios of ITN, the news and sport with Anya Sitharam and Angus Scott.
Good evening, welcome to the programme. The headlines. The moment a bomb rocked the Atlanta Olympics, killing 2 and injuring more than 100. The hunt for the bombers. The FBI have a new lead tonight.
And in the Olympic sporting action, Redgrave bows out after a record 4th gold medal.
FBI investigators revealed tonight that a white American male telephoned a warning to them just moments before the terrorist bomb exploded in Atlanta. 2 people died and 110 were injured in the blast, which happened during a pop concert at a crowded entertainment park. President Clinton has vowed to hunt down whoever was responsible. The bomb exploded in Centennial Park, an area between the Olympic Village and the main stadium. Our correspondent Bill Neely reports from Atlanta.
It should be full, but only the FBI are in the Centennial Park where a bomb blew up, blowing the simple joy of the Olympics to smithereens. They crouch over the crater, gouged by the blast. Early this morning, thousands were here. The explosion was deafening. A cloud of dust rising. Beneath it, dozens lying injured. One woman dying, struck in the head by shrapnel. Thousands fleeing the park. One Turkish television cameraman running the other way to film the aftermath, suffering a heart attack and dying. They had come here to enjoy a rock concert. Some in the crowd were athletes, including a dozen from Cuba.
And you believe it's a bomb?
Most definitely. Yeah. Big gust of smoke. Very loud, so loud that my body was shaking.
We were fully aware of the fact that a bomb went off when it went off because my hair blew back.
The bomb exploded in the heart of Atlanta, inside the Olympic ring, the broad area where security is meant to be tightest. Police believe the satchel on the left of screen contained the bomb. They became suspicious that the bag was lying beneath a sound and lighting platform and were clearing the area when it blew up. On the stage, the rock band were pausing between songs. Nearby, the American Olympic swimmer Janet Evans was being interviewed.
Wow.
These are the scenes that Olympic officials dreaded, scenes reminiscent of the Munich Olympic massacre 2 decades ago. Within 4 hours of the explosion, Olympic organizers made the same decision they made at Munich.
The games will go on. I repeat, the games will go on.
It's now clear that police trying to evacuate the park were responding to a very specific bomb warning. A man the FBI describe as a white American telephoning from a public call box in a calm voice. A recording of that call is now being analyzed.
He did make a specific threat and did indicate that the bomb was in the park. In fact, indicated that it would go off in 30 minutes from the point in time that he made the call.
In fact, it exploded in 18 minutes, not enough time to save more than 100 victims. Troops and police, there are 30,000 of them here, are now examining anything suspicious. FBI investigators are working on the theory that this was a small, homemade bomb. Metal pipes crammed with explosives and triggered by a simple timer. The videotape suggests that. The explosion restricted to a small area, a small crater blown in Olympic Park. Dawn on one of the biggest days of the Olympics, and helicopters circle the venues searching for bombs. The streets where the Olympic marathon will run are filled with armed and anxious security forces, and the bombers are still free. The hunt for them will be intense. There is 1 week still left of these Centennial Games, 1 week too to rescue them from complete disaster. Bill Neely, ITN, Atlanta.
And Bill Neely is at the bomb site in Atlanta now. Bill, what's the latest?
Well, the bomb exploded, in fact, right behind me at the foot of that tall, white 5-story tower you can see there. The FBI has been examining the area all day, looking for fragments of the crude pipe bomb that they believe exploded. The area is sealed off in stark contrast to last night, when 2 hours before the blast, police say about 50,000 people were in the area. This tragedy could have been much worse.
Do the new details from the FBI bring us any closer to knowing who may have carried out the attack?
Well, the FBI are convinced that the man who called a warning had an American accent, and they are now working on the theory that this may have been the work of a right-wing American militia group. Militia members were arrested here in April. The Oklahoma City bombing, of course, had militia links. So the FBI is now working on the theory that Americans may have bombed their own Olympics.
Bill Neely, thank you. Athletes at the Games say they're determined to carry on competing as normal. The head of the British Olympic team, Dick Palmer, told ITN that he's satisfied with security arrangements. Our sports correspondent Graham Miller reports from Atlanta.
Atlanta continues to warm to the Olympic flame despite this morning's bomb blast. They lowered the stadium flags to half-mast as a sign of respect for the victims, and inside held a moment's silence. But nothing, it seems, will stop the people from coming here to see the Games.
I think if you were to poll the world, they would even say that the Games should go on.
The strict security was visibly reinforced, especially around the stadium, and the athletes remained confident of the system.
The security here, I can say, is excellent. This is my 6th Olympic Games, and I've never ever known the security so tough.
For the athletes today, it was business as usual, bust from village straight into the stadium for their own safety. The show goes on regardless. 85,000 enjoying the sporting spectacular, refusing to think of anything else.
If you stop the Games, you're giving way to terrorists, really, and that's no way to proceed, in my view.
There's no doubt the bomb has taken the smile off the face of these Olympic Games. Many of the athletes were said to be in somber mood when they left the village this morning. But what's become quite clear is that despite the tragedy, most people believe the Games should go on. Graham Miller, ITN Sport in Atlanta.
Terrorism experts claim the Atlanta bombing has exposed the weakness of America's security measures. They say it shows just how vulnerable both the Olympics and the United States are to such attacks. Ian Glover-James reports.
Hello, I'm Miles O'Brien at CNN Center.
America woke to an Olympic nightmare.
Terrorism apparently has struck the Centennial Olympic Games.
Faces drained of emotion. Security agents helpless as terrorism shatters the safety of Atlanta. Memories of 24 years ago came flooding back. Then 11 Israelis were killed at the Munich Olympics by Palestinian terrorists. America was safe from terrorism, but the Oklahoma bomb changed all that. Before was the World Trade Center bomb, and still unexplained the TWA airliner downed off New York. A bomb is suspected. Now America will get tough on terrorism.
We will spare no effort to find out who was responsible for this murderous act. We will track them down. We will bring them to justice. We will see that they are punished.
I think that the World Trade Center bombing and the Oklahoma bombing certainly led to a realization that they're no longer invulnerable to terrorism within their own cities.
Last week, he proudly opened the Atlanta Games. On Tuesday, Clinton heads a G7 summit in Paris on terrorism. Suddenly, it's crucial to America. Ian Glover-James, ITN.
Other news, Australia's worst ever serial killer is behind bars tonight, starting a life sentence for murdering 7 backpackers. Among Ivan Millet's victims were 2 British women. From Australia, Libby Vina reports.
The man whose gruesome killings shocked Australia was starting a life sentence today. Until the end, Ivan Millet, known for his passion for guns, had protested his innocence. But the jury, reduced to 11 after a death threat against 1, did not believe him. He was found guilty of all 7 murders in the Belangolo forest near Sydney, including that of Britain's Caroline Clark from Northumberland and her friend Joanne Walters from Wales. Sentencing Millet to 7 life terms, the judge said he'd shown a callous indifference to suffering and a complete disregard of humanity, which was almost beyond belief. Joanne had been repeatedly stabbed, her shirt a key exhibit in the trial. Parts of the gun used to shoot Caroline were later found in Millet's home. He was finally arrested after another Briton, Paul Onions, identified him as the man who tried to kidnap him. The verdict brought some comfort at last for the families. As they head home, there remains one awful uncertainty. The police believe that Malat had an accomplice who's still at large. Libby Vina, ITN, Sydney.
80 British tourists were among hundreds evacuated in the latest bomb attack on a Spanish resort today. No one was hurt in the blast, which happened in a hotel on the Costa Dorada. The separatist group ETA is being blamed. 3 loyalists being held over the murder of a Catholic taxi driver in Northern Ireland have been released tonight without charge. Michael McGoldrick was shot dead near Lurgan in County Armagh at the time of the Orange Order standoff at Dumcree. A row has erupted over European Union plans to scrap duty-free sales between member states in 1999. MPs are urging John Major to step in before the plan is rubber-stamped. Travel operators are also launching a campaign to save the industry. And now, with today's Olympic and other sporting action, here's Angus Scott.
As you've heard, Olympic bosses vowed the Games would continue despite the bomb. Steve Redgrave confirmed his retirement from rowing after clinching his 4th successive gold medal in the coxless pairs. It's Britain's first gold at Atlanta. Here's our sports reporter, Peter Staunton.
50 miles from the chaos in Atlanta, the rowing venue was packed to watch an Olympic legend in action for Britain. And if the team had one gold medal certainty, it was Redgrave and his partner, Matthew Pinsent. 4 years ago, they'd won gold together in Barcelona. And for Redgrave, this was the chance to extend his Olympic winning streak to 12 years. Their pre-Games confidence was supreme. After years of relentless training, the race went exactly as they'd planned. Out in front from the start, they had a comfortable lead by halfway, and then enough in reserve to hold off a strong challenge. The time was a record, 8 seconds quicker than their last Olympic victory. For Redgrave, it was the end of a glittering career. He retires with the unofficial title of the greatest ever Olympian. Later, Greg and Johnny Searle had hoped to add to their Barcelona gold, this time in the coxless fours event, but they had to settle for a bronze in a photo finish. Tonight in the Athletics Stadium, Linford Christie defends his title in the 100 metres showdown. And Jonathan Edwards is hoping to double Britain's gold medal total in the triple jump. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
Cricket. Pakistan have a formidable lead going into the 4th day of the first test at Lord's after England were all out for 285. Aggressive batting against some poor English bowling then put them 217 runs ahead with 7 second innings wickets standing. Motor racing. Britain's Damon Hill is in pole position for tomorrow's German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. World champion Michael Schumacher had set the best lap time before Hill and then Gerhard Berger beat it by half a second.
Finally, tonight's national lottery draw has just been made. The winning numbers are 13, 21, 45, 2, 19 and 32. The bonus number is 9. The jackpot is an estimated £9.6 million. That's it from the two of us and the weekend team. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hello and good evening. For most of us, it's been a dry start to the weekend with some brightness around, and many of us can expect the same sort of weather for tomorrow, despite some cloud and rain which will push into northern and western parts of the country. Now, the reason for that is this area of low pressure. It's currently heading across the Atlantic towards us, and if we have a look at the satellite picture, you can see the cloud associated with that weather system. Now, it is currently pushing some patchy rain across Ireland as we speak, and through the night, it'll continue to move across the Irish Channel towards the mainland, but as you can see there, with most places staying largely dry. So that takes us into a dry start to Sunday as well for most places, if rather dull and overcast. We'll already have that patchy rain and drizzle across Northern Ireland and the western fringes of the mainland. All of that then pushing slowly northeastwards through the afternoon, reaching about the Edinburgh area by the evening. Always with the heaviest bursts in the far west, but most of it on the whole light and patchy. We'll also see central and eastern parts of the country tending to brighten up during the afternoon, so some sunshine there. For many places a pleasant day, and certainly the highest temperatures in the southeast at 24 Celsius, 75 Fahrenheit. That's all from me. Good night.
Sponsored by Powergen, generating electricity, whatever the weather.